Welcome to Law Made Simple, your trusted guide to decoding Indian law. Today's topic, Power of Attorney, often called PoA. It's a legal document that lets you authorize someone to act on your behalf. The person giving the power is the principal, and the one receiving it is the attorney. This tool is especially useful when someone is abroad, unwell, or unable to manage affairs directly. It's governed by the Power of Attorney Act, 1882. PoA is commonly used in property transactions, banking, litigation, and even medical decisions. But it's not just paperwork, it's a transfer of trust. You're handing over legal authority, so clarity and caution are key. Think of it like giving someone your signature for specific tasks. It can be temporary or long-term, depending on your needs. For example, an NRI might use PoA to sell land in India without flying back. Or an elderly parent might authorize their child to manage bank accounts. PoA can be empowering, but also risky if misused. That's why understanding its structure is essential. We'll explore types, uses, and what happens when things go wrong. We'll also look at remedies for legal heirs and revocation procedures. Each section comes with real examples and legal references. So stay tuned, take notes, and share this with anyone managing legal affairs. Let's simplify the law, one concept at a time. This is Law Made Simple, your legal literacy companion. There are four main types of power of attorney in India. First, the general PoA gives broad powers, like managing property, signing documents, or handling finances. Second, the special PoA is task-specific, say, selling one flat or attending one court hearing. Third, the durable PoA stays valid even if the principal becomes mentally incapacitated. And fourth, the registered PoA is legally recorded, especially crucial in real estate. These types are shaped by agency principles under the Indian Contract Act, 1872. Each type serves a different purpose, depending on the situation. General PoA is often used by NRIs for ongoing property management. Special PoA is ideal for one-time actions like executing a sale deed. Durable PoA is more common in medical or elder care settings. And registered PoA is mandatory for transferring a movable property. For example, a Mumbai resident gave special PoA to her uncle to sell her flat while she was in Canada. The document clearly mentioned the flat number, sale price, and expiry date. This ensured transparency and legal protection. Always choose the type that matches your intent. Avoid vague language, clarity is your shield. And remember, registration adds legal weight. Unregistered PoAs may not be accepted in property disputes. So consult a lawyer before drafting one. Coming up next, how PoA is used in real life. Let's look at common scenarios and legal safeguards. Power of attorney is a practical tool used in many scenarios. NRIs often use it to sell property in India without traveling. Elderly parents may authorize children to manage bank accounts. In legal cases, a PoA holder can represent someone in court. And in medical emergencies, a durable PoA allows trusted individuals to make health decisions. For instance, a Bengaluru-based woman gave her brother PoA to manage her flat while she relocated to Dubai. He handled the sale legally, thanks to a registered special PoA. PoA is also used for routine banking, like signing checks or updating KYC. In litigation, a lawyer may be appointed via PoA to file or defend a case. Medical PoAs are gaining traction, especially in elder care. They allow family members to make decisions if the principal is unconscious or mentally unfit. But misuse is possible, so clarity in drafting is vital. Mention exact powers, duration, and limitations. Avoid vague terms like all matters or full control. Use separate PoAs for different domains, property, banking, litigation. And always notarize or register the document. Banks and courts often reject unregistered PoAs. Keep copies with both parties and notify third parties. PoA is not a shortcut, it's a legal delegation. So treat it with the seriousness it deserves. Coming up, how long a PoA remains valid and how to revoke it. A power of attorney remains valid until it's revoked or the principal passes away. It must be signed and notarized to be legally recognized. For property matters, registration at the sub-registrar's office is mandatory under the Indian Registration Act, 1908. Stamp duty applies as per the Indian Stamp Act, 1899. If you want to revoke it, you must issue a revocation deed and notify all parties. For example, a Pune resident revoked her PoA after her attorney tried to lease her shop without consent. She published a newspaper notice and filed a civil injunction. Validity also depends on the language used. If no expiry date is mentioned, it's assumed to be valid until revoked. But courts prefer time-bound PoAs for clarity. Registration adds legal weight, especially in property disputes. Unregistered PoAs may be challenged in court. Notarization is essential for bank and court acceptance. Keep a copy with the principal, attorney, and relevant institutions. If the principal dies, the PoA automatically becomes void. So legal heirs must act quickly to prevent misuse. Revocation must be in writing and ideally registered. Oral revocation is hard to prove. Always mention revocation clauses in the original PoA. Coming up next, what happens when the attorney misuses their power? Misuse of power of attorney can be devastating. Common abuses include selling property without consent, withdrawing money from accounts, or forging documents. In KK Bala v. DDA, the court ruled that any act done after revocation is null and void. For example, a Delhi widow gave PoA to her brother. He later sold her ancestral land using a forged copy. She filed a civil suit and got the sale cancelled. Always limit powers clearly and register your PoA to prevent misuse. Overstepping authority is a common issue. If the PoA was for rent collection, the attorney cannot sell the property. Forgery is another risk, especially with scanned or backdated documents. Banks and registrars must verify signatures and dates. Unauthorized withdrawals can lead to criminal charges. IPC sections 406 and 420 apply for breach of trust and cheating. Legal heirs must act fast to stop misuse. Revocation and injunctions are key remedies. Always monitor transactions and ask for updates. If you suspect misuse, consult a lawyer immediately. Coming up, what legal heirs can do if PoA is misused. If an attorney misuses their power, legal heirs can act. First, revoke the PoA with a formal deed. Then, file a civil suit under Section 31 of the Specific Relief Act, 1963 to cancel or restrain misuse. You can also seek an injunction to stop property transfers. If fraud is involved, file a criminal complaint under IPC Sections 406, criminal breach of trust, and 420, cheating. In Suraj Lamp v. State of Haryana, the Supreme Court clarified that PoA cannot be used to transfer property ownership. Legal heirs must act swiftly. Delay can lead to irreversible damage. Publish a newspaper notice to alert third parties. Notify banks, registrars, and tenants. Collect evidence, emails, transaction records, witness statements. Consult a lawyer for drafting and filing. You may also seek police protection if property is at risk. Court orders can freeze transactions. If the attorney is a relative, emotions may complicate things. But legal action is necessary to protect rights. Always keep copies of the original PoA and revocation. Digital records help improving timelines. Coming up, how the principal can revoke PoA directly. Yes, a power of attorney can be revoked by the principal at any time, unless it's irrevocable for consideration. To revoke, draft a formal revocation deed stating the reasons and scope. Notify the attorney in writing, email, registered post, or in person. Also inform third parties like banks, registrars, tenants, or buyers. If the original PoA was registered, the revocation must be registered too under the Indian Registration Act, 1908. Publish a notice in a widely circulated newspaper to prevent misuse. This public notice acts as legal protection in case of future disputes. For example, a Chennai businessman revoked his PoA after his agent tried to mortgage his factory. He filed a revocation, sent legal notices, and published it in the Hindu. The misuse was stopped before any damage occurred. If the attorney refuses to cooperate, you can file an injunction in civil court. Section 31 of the Specific Relief Act, 1963 allows cancellation of documents that may cause injury. You can also lodge a police complaint under IPC Section 406 for breach of trust. Always keep a copy of the original POA and the revocation deed. Digital notarization is now accepted in many states. Use it for faster processing. Mention revocation clauses in the original POA to avoid ambiguity. If the POA was used for property, notify the sub-registrar's office. Banks may require a certified copy of the revocation before freezing access. Legal heirs should act quickly if the principal is incapacitated or deceased. Revocation is your right, but it must be documented and communicated. Coming up next, preventive tips to avoid misuse before it happens. To prevent misuse, always use a special POA for limited tasks. Avoid giving blanket authority unless absolutely necessary. Choose someone you trust deeply, preferably a close relative or professional. Mention an expiry date in the document to limit long-term risk. Register the POA if it involves a movable property. Unregistered POAs are easier to challenge and misuse. Monitor transactions regularly, ask for updates and receipts. For example, an NRI gave POA to her cousin to manage rent collection. She added a clause that the POA expires in 12 months. This protected her from long-term misuse. Include clauses that restrict subdelegation. Avoid vague phrases like all legal matters. Use separate POAs for property, banking, and litigation. Keep scanned copies and notarized originals in safe custody. Inform banks and registrars about the POA's scope. If you're elderly or ill, consider a durable POA with medical clauses. Consult a lawyer before signing. Don't rely on templates. Digital notarization is now accepted in many states. Use email or registered post to share copies with institutions. And always keep a revocation plan ready. Prevention is better than litigation. Coming up, final recap and call to action. Power of attorney is a powerful legal tool, but with great power comes great responsibility. Understand its types, uses, and risks before signing. Know how to revoke it and what remedies are available if it's misused. Always draft with clarity, register when required, and monitor its use. If you're a legal heir, act quickly to prevent fraud. Use civil and criminal remedies where needed. And if you're the principal, keep control through revocation clauses. We hope this explainer helped you understand the legal landscape. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. Share it with friends, family, or anyone dealing with property or legal delegation. Comment below with your questions. We reply to every query. Don't forget to subscribe to Law Made Simple for more legal explainers. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. We simplify law so you can make informed decisions. From property rights to digital safety, we've got you covered. Check out our other videos on medical negligence, dowry laws, and check bounce cases. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for daily legal tips. And if you're a student or professional, explore our masterclass playlists. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered. This is Law Made Simple, your legal literacy companion.